Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first END FIBROIDS program session. I am so excited about our session today because we want freedom from fibroids. We want freedom from all of the debilitating symptoms to the quality of life issues, to all the things that have caused us to deal with shame, to impact our freedom in terms of our self-love and our freedom to be in relationships, feeling ashamed that we feel that we look pregnant, to heavy bleeding, painful periods, all of those things. I'm very excited that together we are kicking off this journey. Joining me today, well, I'm your host, Coach Gessie, and joining me today, of course, is my partner in health, Martin, Dr. Amun Benjamin, our certified herbalist and nutritionist, and of course, co-founder of the END FIBROIDS program. Tell the people in them, hey, Dr. Amun.
How's everyone doing? I hope everyone can hear me clearly.
Hey, excellent, excellent.
All right,
so
good.
We're gonna jump right in because we wanna make sure we've got so much information to share with you today, all right? So wanna make sure we have everybody in, nobody's in the waiting room, that's number one. And then, so yes, I've got the green light, All right, so first of all, if you didn't see our interview with Angela recently, we were on and actually it was a great opportunity. Shout out to Angela, who always gives us the opportunity to share vital information. But it was to talk about new research that actually confirms what we have been talking about all the time, right?
That's right.
Well, for a while.
No, you said it right the first time. You mean,
well, not all the time because we didn't.
I would say for the last 4 years, to be fair, for the last 4 years.
Okay, so number one is that, before we go, and I know some of you don't know who we are. So I want to just first tell you a little bit about who I am. I am a fibroid survivor turned health activist and founder of thedetoxnow.com. I'm actually going to ask my tech person to go ahead and start advancing the slides. And I say that because I want to make sure you guys see that I, like you, have battled fibroids. Many of you can advance to the next slide. Many of you are in the journey right now. Let me see 1 second. Is that where we are? Yes, okay, let me stop there. So first of all, let's just relocate where you are. You are here because you are joining the END FIBROIDS program. We are doing this 30 days of intensive collaborating together on this journey to provide you with community, accountability, and support free, F-R-E-E, free, right? Because we know that when we do it together, when we do it together, we win, all right? So on this 30 days, you're gonna have access to, of course, with your kits came the eBooks, which are the END FIBROIDS manual, that has all the research and the information around the protocols of our program, as well as the recipe guide. So you'll have recipes, shopping lists, you'll have live sessions, 4 live sessions with me and my special friends, including, of course, Dr. Amun, who's always gonna be with us, right? And of course, you will have the support of this group, okay, which is really important. One thing I remember, all along, whenever someone was on the cusp of about to give up, they didn't give up on their testimony because they had community and support to help them. Or if they felt like, they were floundering, or they were having success and it encouraged someone else that, hey, you know what? I'm gonna keep on going because if it could work for her, it could work for me. So that's what we're doing. And today we're actually gonna go over specifically what to expect and to prepare you. This first week is about, we're calling it the transition preparation, which is preparation for the first week of the actual program, okay, of actual execution. So this week is about preparation. All right, so we're gonna advance and let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about why you might wanna listen to me, right? Because I, like you, battled fibroids for 14 years. I actually battled infertility caused by those fibroids for 10 years. And what I call my $1 million baby journey is that I actually had, next slide, that I actually had, next slide, thank you. I'm gonna do this, and please bear with me, we're in total new locations. So 14 years battling fibroids, 10 years battling infertility caused by the fibroids, okay? I had 10 surgeries, 5 for fibroids, and 5 for complications from the fibroid surgeries, okay? So when I talk about complications from surgeries, this is why I'm always talking about it. It says slides are not showing. So we're gonna go ahead and take a moment and just make sure that
You can see your slides.
you can see them.
Yeah, the 1 month baby journey. We see that.
Thank you. Somebody said it wasn't showing. So you might need to swipe. Cool. Thank you for that. Thank you. We in this together. I'm not alone. Thank you. Who is that? Who gave me that?
Laquita.
Thank you, Laquita. Appreciate it. You ain't leave me out there floundering. I appreciate it. Okay, so I go back to the complications because many times we are not aware of the things that are connected to having fibroid surgery. And recently, you know, we've been having a lot of communication around if you have advanced fibroid disease and you need surgery, or you just want to deal with them in an interventional, traditional way. We always talk about why you need to make sure you're pairing it with the holistic practices of the prevention program, right? Because you want to make sure that your body is armed to help prevent the actual complications from fibroid surgeries, which include, you know, of course, return of potential fibroids, but then also surgical complications like small bowel obstructions, which is what I ended up having. 5 surgeries to actually cut out damaged tissue of my small intestine that came because of scar tissue overgrowing and wrapping around my small intestines, okay? And then because of the infertility, because of the scarring that was over my fallopian tubes from the surgeries, I actually ended up having 5 IVF cycles, a devastating miscarriage, as well as my heart actually stopped on the operating table having my baby because of all of the scar tissue they had to get through to see it. You're not seeing them good. Hold on, I'm gonna pause for a second. It says, not seeing them good. Let's see what the chat is saying for a minute. Okay, chat is saying, is that better now? But I wanna make sure you guys see it. Can you guys see it better now? Jump to the first.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. So that's better, let's do it like this. So all of that, right, I'll give you guys a chance, but this was just the review. All of that caused a life of actual chronic issues because of how the surgeries impacted the rest of my life. And what we work now to do is not to, if you are gonna have surgery, we wanna equip you with the tools to actually help your body to heal better from the surgery, as well as to prevent on the back end. And for some people, they want to do both. They want to maybe tackle the larger fibroids with surgery and incorporate holistic practices to help to deal with the smaller fibroids. And some people, they're like, I don't want surgery. I just want to end the suffering holistically. And we got you too. We're here to help you with that too. Okay, so next slide. I just had to show you my miracle baby because she's real. She is real. This is Nia Thompson. And in fact, right now, she is, next slide, bam. On the Lion King stage. So this baby right here, who now she is young Nala in the Lion King on Broadway, I was told at 21 weeks to consider terminating my pregnancy because guess what? The fibroids that were left from the 3rd myomectomy were actually growing and competing with the baby for blood supply. And the doctors, I'll never forget it, being in that office with the doctor who said, your womb is going to become a hostile environment for you and your baby. You might want to consider terminating the pregnancy. And in that moment, you know, I reached out and I held on to my faith. And I said, no, I'm not giving up on this baby. I knew in my knower that she was supposed to be here. And it had taken us 10 years to have this pregnancy. 5 IVF cycles, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars just on IVF by itself. And you know what? It was truly a test of faith, but it also was in a moment where I just felt like I'd put my body through so much. I didn't want to give up. And I'm glad, I'm glad that fibroids didn't win, infertility didn't win, and she is an amazing gift in my life. So, but it got me now thinking, what is it? Where, how did the traditional system fail me, right? Fibroids, I started, you know, just praying, God, help me to be a solution. Help me to help other women battling fibroids. So we've talked a lot about it. I'm going to stop for 1 second just to make sure we kind of go over what fibroids are, which are, we'll go through the next slide, smooth muscle tumors that occur in and around the uterine wall. If you're on here, you know what they are. So the next slide is all about location, okay? So when you talk about if these are the symptoms that will happen based on the location. So if there's heavy bleeding, it's usually because they're located inside the uterine cavity or in the inner lining. If you're feeling fullness, usually it's because they're outside the uterine lining. They're called subserosal fibroids, which are usually on the outer lining of the fibroids, or pedunculated. So they're causing you to feel more full. Enlargement, definitely related to subserosal as well as definitely pedunculated fibroids. And intramural can make you feel full as well as enlarged. And then there's pain during sex, depending on if they're located near the cervix, near the vaginal opening. Usually, what do you call them? They can be intramural, but they're usually more submucosal. Those will cause pain during sex. Lower back pain, a lot of times that's outer lining, intramural. And then incontinence, if they're pressing on, you know, causing crushing your bladder, that's why it would cause incontinence, probably more intramural, as well as, I'm so sorry about that, as well as pedunculated. And then I'm actually going to go to the next slide, reproductive problems, which we just talked about, which was everything from infertility to, unfortunately, miscarriages can be affected as well. Give me 1 second, because this is like looking crazy. Sorry. Please just forgive me with any kind of tech issues. I know some of you know about it because you've been praying for me, but my cousin died, and I am not home. I am operating outside of my home. So things are a little bit off on the tech side, so I apologize. But thank you to those who've been praying. So the key thing with our END FIBROIDS program is that we work on tackling these issues through the root causes, okay? And you've heard people say, oh, no, all you have to do is stop eating. I'm gonna write, like, they'll be like, just stop eating meat or stop eating dairy and the fibroids will go away. Oh, I did that. I was vegan. I still had fibroids. Or, oh, all you have to do is, you know, make sure that your stressors are relieved. And if you're not dealing with stressors, you'll be fine. And the truth is, thank you so much, y'all. I appreciate y'all. And the truth is that fibroids are multifactorial, which means they have multiple root factors that actually impact them, all right? So that's everything from, and all of this information is in our END FIBROIDS book, okay? But all of this information is connected to how we tackle the fibroids in this program. So you've got, yes, we've been talking about estrogen dominance for a while now, right? But then there's also, we know genetics, there are genetic genetic root causes, connections to fibroids, like polymorphisms, which are variations of actual what is it called? Again, it was polymorphisms, variations of genetic.
So you basically have different variants of genes that will upregulate or downregulate down to environment, foods, life experience. And what this would do would interfere with how estrogen now is being regulated in the body. And what we found is that, especially with Black women, it spikes estrogen higher. It's because Black women go through a lot more stress, a lot more traumatic experiences, and they don't have access to a lot of real food, what we call real food. So that's why this particular gene will be highly
Right. What is the gene though? I was saying it's the polymorphisms.
COMS. You mean COMS1? COMS gene?
It's it's the variation of the COMS1 gene. Exactly. Yeah. So, and then there's obesity and inflammation. We know that obesity actually is a root. There's more presence of estrogen dominance with obesity because of the feedback of estrogen with obesity, as well as inflammation. And there's stress trauma. I would say that is like the number one is stress, like, because it fuels everything else. It regulates everything else. And then there's endocrine disruptors. We've talked a lot about that, but that's where everything from the products you use on your hair, in your skin, in your home, right? Perfume, fragrance, one of the number one actual toxins is anything that has fragrance in it. And then there's vitamin D.
The phthalates, because of the phthalates, remember?
Because of the phthalates, yeah.
That's what actually causes the endocrine system to basically go out of whack.
Right. So I wasn't going to go into all of these in depth, but that's why I was just saying that I wanted them to know that they're multifactorial. Okay. So the key thing here is that when the reason we're excited about working with you is because we want you to help you to actually say, okay, wait a minute. Wait, in my life, okay, I had a lot of childhood trauma, and that could have been one of the key triggers. And then also, if I have melanin and I'm vitamin D deficient, then that also can be a factor. Oh, wait a minute, like tracing what are the root causes in your life, right? Because each person's will create like a different composite. And then that will help you identify what are the things that we need to actually adjust specifically in your life, right? So we know that when it comes to vitamin D deficiency, estrogen dominance, stress, inflammation, those I would say are like the big four, and endocrine disruptors absolutely as well. So I would say big five. I usually kind of say endocrine disruptors with estrogen dominance, but it's not, it's something separate. What lab panels do you recommend in order to test these? So genetic test it's a genetic test. So that's a specific kind of test, but there are markers for inflammation. You can do blood tests for that. Stress and trauma, it will show up in your inflammation markers.
I mean, if they can schedule the gynecologist to maybe put them in touch with a endocrinologist, it's a full panel, what they call a full panel blood work. And that will basically go over all your vitamins, your minerals, your hormones, and that way you will see all your biofactors, whether you're low, average, deficit, elevated. So that's what I would recommend, that you ask your OBGYN or your physician, if they doesn't have it, can they recommend you to an endocrinologist, and you get a full palette. It's called a full palette testing. And that covers everything, your hormones, your blood, electrolytes. That's what I meant to say, your electrolytes as well, because they also play a part in the balance of your hormones and your sugar level as well. So that's the testing, as well as what Coach Gessie said about genetic testing. When you go for genetic testing,
but genetic testing it can be expensive.
It can be very expensive.
They're the first place to start, but because even if it was, you still can do things that can affect your genetic, that can affect your re-engineer body's response.
Yeah, we go into what they call epigenetics, and basically down to your environment and your experiences and life changes, you could switch these
Yep.
genes off and on and change the course of basically your life by doing it. So
Yeah, and that's what we're working to do. And vitamin D deficiency, that is huge because, you know, we're going to get into it more, but asking for that in your blood panel. Okay. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. So as we said, all of this information is actually in the book that comes in the kit, the fibroids kit, the End Fibroids book specific. Thank you. The End Fibroids book. It's gynecologist recommended, y'all. Yes. But specifically, all of the studies that actually are backing this information are linked right in the ebook. And we did it so that you had access, because some people, they want to read the studies, they want to deep dive into it. So we wanted you to know that you have access to it in the book when you get the kit. Okay. Let's go to the next slide, please. I'm going to go like this for next slide. All right. So let's talk about what we're so excited about, which is the new research. Okay. So, Dr. Armon, you want to talk, I'll talk about vitamin D deficiency. You talk about the oxidative stress and the anti-inflammatory protocols.
So, how you doing, ladies? We all know, so let me just give you a simple breakdown on what oxidative stress and free radicals are. So oxidative stress is what is known as a unbalanced or disrupted molecule, okay, within the body. And these molecules that are unbalanced or disrupted lead into free radicals. And though we need free radicals, okay, in the body, if there is abundance or unbalance of this, then it can create the body harm. It could interfere with metabolism. So metabolism of protein and glucose, which then also, if the free radicals are allowed to keep running in the body for a length of time, it then can also now start causing tissue damage and DNA damage. Then it can lead to metabolic disorders, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, cardiac disease. I mean, the list goes on. So what we want to do is make sure that, and this can be also caused by just bad diet, environment, exposure to toxins. So what we have created within our End Fibroid kit is anti-inflammatory or antioxidant substance, from our supplementation to food and even exercise. Okay, even the medical qigong, what we recommend to do, as well as hot yoga, cold water treatment, all of these things are anti-inflammatory. So what happens with oxidative stress and free radicals when they're left alone? Again, like I said, we naturally have free radicals in our bodies, part of our immune system. It's actually part of the innate immune system, without going into much detail. But if they're left to run for a long period of time, it causes inflammatory, it causes inflammation in the body. Then now the immune system becomes compromised. So what we had to put together is a collective of foods from different types of fruits, especially berries, kiwis, watermelons, some different type of pears, mangoes. All of these are anti-inflammatory and antioxidant, as well as cruciferous vegetables. They actually have antioxidant properties in them that helps to rid the body or balance the body of these unbalanced molecules and oxidative stress. The studies that Coach Gessie was talking about with the new research has showed that 70% to 80% of women that they examined with uterine fibroids had high levels of oxidative stress in the body, which was disrupting. I mean, it was causing an inflammatory response at the highest level, which if we had to put it from 1 to 10, they were at 8, 9, even some of them at 10. And this is why you saw the proliferation of uterine fibroids growing from the sides or multiplying by numbers within or out of the uterus, because the whole environment was an inflammatory environment due to the oxidative stress. So now, when we're talking about eating these particular foods, fruits, exercise, and supplementation, it helps to bring that down and balances everything out. That's why, if you go back, we always had what we call, Coach Gessie, the balance system, is because that's what we try to instill. everything has to be balanced. And when things are out of balance, this is where now the body's exposed and vulnerable to having chronic inflammation that would lead to uterine fibroids. So we definitely know the root cause. This research actually provides the evidence and the medical and scientific evidence that what we were doing was on the money, was on the money. And yeah, we're just happy to present this today to like say to you that we have all the tools and the kits that you need to actually get rid of. It's an autoimmune disease. If we really want to look at uterine fibroids, it's actually an autoimmune disease because even when Coach Gessie go into vitamin D, your immune system is compromised. And it's either doing one or two things. It's either working, accelerating, or it's not functioning. Yes, it's compromised. Okay, so it's not functioning correctly at all because your body, even though it's benign, they're forming tumors. It's becoming tumorous. Mm-hmm. So anytime that happens, it means your immune system is compromised.
So oxidative stress, someone just said, how do you test for it? Your body actually creates free radicals throughout it all the time, even from digesting food to.
Well, that's a good question. What you would see in your blood results, you will see elevated white blood cells. So the elevation of your white blood cells will be your macrophages, will be your TNF alphas, your cytokines. So these will be the white blood cells to look at through your testing, your blood work, because they will be highly elevated, which would then be an indication to oxidative stress and free radicals are taking place within your body.
So, but a key thing here though is that sometimes doctors will say, well, they're seeing normal. Like, but what is normal? Is it low normal? Is it high normal? Like, that's the other thing. Because, for instance, they'll say, oh no, it's within the, like, I'm going to go into it when I talk about vitamin D. But so the key thing though is making an anti-inflammatory lifestyle. That's why when he says it's the food, it's the supplements, it's the exercises, right? It's the meditation and the prayer and the brain exercises and the cold water therapy. These are all things because there are triggers. There are things, everything from, we just talked about endocrine disruptors. There are things, literally toxins that our bodies are being exposed to all day long, literally. My cousin was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer at 35 years old with literally out of nowhere in June. Diagnosis to death was 6 weeks. 35 years old. Now, his father had pancreatic cancer, but he had literally no symptoms, nothing. His dad died 16 years ago in his 50s. And what I say, and I say it over and over, is that it is legal to poison us in the United States. What we're growing up in, what we are living in on a daily basis is so different than what our grandparents were living in, our parents and our grandparents. They weren't dealing with the heavy chemicals in the food, in the products, in, you know, the air, and they just didn't have that same level of exposure that we're having in everything, everywhere. And that is why we literally have to be intentional about, controlling our environments. We have to be intentional about making sure that we're equipping our bodies with the right supplements, with the right foods, that we're getting proper sleep, all the things. And that's why this is designed so intentionally to, again, create the right anti-inflammatory protocol for you. And then when we go into vitamin D deficiency, Dr. Amon, what was the statistic specifically on the results on vitamin D therapy on fibroids? You shared it in the interview the other day.
Yeah, so they showed that, sorry?
Go ahead.
Yeah, they showed that in the study that using vitamin D therapy, they saw a shrinkage from 17 up to 23% in uterine fibroids, which is huge.
Wow.
Huge, you know? And there's reasons. So when Coach Gessie goes into vitamin deficiency, I will piggyback after to like let you know how vitamin D really helps to shrink uterine fibroids, because again, like I just said, uterine fibroids is really an autoimmune disorder or disease that happens around the reproductive organs.
So some of the key things to know is most times, so 76% of Black people are actually vitamin D deficient because our melanin actually, it blocks the absorption of the sun, right? Meaning it helps, it limits the amount of UVB rays our bodies are absorbing in order to.
But it doesn't block vitamin D. Just because you saw
it doesn't block vitamin D. I just said UVB. I know somebody put that in the comments.
Yeah.
It doesn't block vitamin D. It blocks the absorption of the UVB rays that the body converts through photosynthesis. It absorbs and creates with our kidneys and our liver to create vitamin D hormone in the body. That's the process, okay? But what's happening is the melanin actually, it blocks that absorption. So we need more time in the sun in order to actually activate our melanocytes so our body can have more of the UVB rays to create the vitamin D hormone, and we need supplementation, the right supplementation, to ensure that our bodies are getting the D3 levels, are operating in the D3 levels that we need. So the reason this is so important is because of D3 being the body's #1 hormone to actually fight fibroids, okay? So let's talk about what happens to us. Most times, yes, we'll be told as Black women that we are vitamin D deficient, but it's not used as like, look, #1, you need to get this fixed right away. And then what they'll do is they'll tell you to take vitamin D, D3, right? But they'll actually tell you to, when it gets to level like 30, which is the baseline borderline minimum, that, oh, you're good, you're no longer deficient. Well, guess what? Baseline minimum is not enough to help your body actually fight fibroids or any of the other conditions that D3 helps, which is cardiovascular, immune, osteoporosis. There's so many things that D3 helps in, the growth hormone. There's so many things that D3 actually is vital in helping your body function. But one of the things is fighting inflammation and tumor. And specifically, your body needs high levels, like high normal, not toxic levels, which high normal levels, for me, it's between 60 and 80, okay? So typically people will say between 50 and 70, 60 and 80, those are high normal levels. So that's good high, because you need it to be strong vitamin D, healthy vitamin D levels. If you stop at 30 and they just say, oh, you're normal now, you're not gonna have enough vitamin D in order to help your body fight these issues. That's #1. #2 is oftentimes people say, I was talking to someone who said, I can't get my vitamin D levels up. And I said, well, how much are you taking? And they said, well, I'm taking 2,000 IUs a day. Well, 2,000 IUs really just helps you maintain. You have to talk to your doctor. #1, get tested, find out what your vitamin D levels are currently, okay? Then #2, ask how much you need to take to get to high normal levels. Ask your doctor what high normal levels are for you. And they should say somewhere between like 50 and 70, 50 and 80, okay? And then ask, how much should I be taking to get to that level? And usually it's between 5 and 10,000 daily, all right, in order to actually increase your number. You're not gonna increase your number by taking 1,500 to 2,000 a day. You're gonna maintain your number, typically speaking, with that. So you will feel like you're just not going anywhere, all right? The other thing is, do you know that you're taking the most bioavailable form of D3? Our D3 at the Detox Now is actually cholecalciferol, the most bioavailable, and it is formulated with actually healthy fats that D3 requires for your body to absorb it. So those are key things that we need to make sure you know and you're operating in to help get the healthy, strong D3 levels that your body needs to actually fight the tumors, fight the fibroids, and help shrink and eliminate them. When you wanted to join in on something there?
Yeah, so like Coach Gessie said, we have, you need a fat to actually transport vitamin D, a triglyceride. And our triglyceride comes
Triglycerides?
from triglycerides, but this one comes from coconut fat. So that's already within our supplementation. But the thing, what I was going to say with vitamin D, what it does, the body has, if the immune system, it has two types of cytokines. It has inflammatory and anti-inflammatory. And what happens is with your immune system, anytime it comes into contact with anything that is foreign or an invader or bacteria or virus, the immune system's first line of defense, which is the skin, the second line, which would be the innate, would start activating, basically start fighting. And these macrophages has a nucleus gene that's called, without getting too complicated, it's called
I'm about to
NF.
say, you about to lose them.
Yeah, I'm not going to lose you. It's called an NF kappa B, right? And what that does, it sends out inflammation straight away. It causes these cytokines to cause an inflammatory response straight away. And if that doesn't have a cutoff point, it runs on and runs on and runs on, and we get chronic inflammation. And this is what feeds your fibroids. This is what sets the environment for fibroids to grow. Or what vitamin D does, it suppresses that gene. That gene, the NF kappa B, it suppresses it. It doesn't allow it to go and send out the inflammation or the signal to the cytokines. So those get suppressed. Now, if your vitamin D levels are deficient, you're going to be exposed and your immune system is going to be compromised. But if your vitamin D is high and is at what Coach Gessie was just saying, our regular standard, right?
High normal.
High normal, then you will find that your body won't have an autoimmune response. Because what I just described was an autoimmune response. Okay, so this is how vitamin D suppresses. So when these cytokines are sending out the TF alpha, the IL-2s, the IL-6s, and all of these are white blood cells that are just going crazy in the body. Okay, and we're supposed to have information. So I don't want anyone thinking, oh my days, we should not have information. Information is a product of our immune
chronic
system.
inflammation is what you should have.
Chronic inflammation that we shouldn't have. Acute inflammation is fine, but chronic. And what vitamin D does, it helps to suppress and stop chronic inflammation. And that's why it's so detrimental for us to have our vitamin Ds through supplementation, through sunlight, and even through our dietary nutrition, okay? To have it in our food. That's why we have in our food list, we would tell people, and this is, we would say, normally when we first came out, it was like no meat at all, okay? No meat at all. And we still stand by that. No red meat, okay? And really no lean protein. The only meat we recommend is salmon, right? Wild salmon or wild sea bass or wild shrimp, because they carry omega-3. Omega-3 is anti-inflammatory.
There goes that word again, y'all.
Yeah, so it controls inflammation and the inflammatory response. It brings it down, it calms it down. The research in this paper actually supports everything that we're saying.
Yeah.
Everything that we're saying. And, we know that there's certain seeds, like pumpkin seeds and hemp seeds, that has also anti-inflammatory omega-3, but they don't have the potency. They don't have all the attributes of omega-3, like, say, wild salmon. So if you're going to have wild salmon, we recommend baked or steamed, right? And make sure it's wild caught salmon, not farm raised, but wild caught. But again, all the nutrition things that we provide or we recommend from the food list or is anti-inflammatory. Yep. And it helps to bring inflammation down. And that's one of the main things I want to.
Someone asked a question I wanted to answer. It said, the question was, how are we talking about 10,000 IU? They said the measurement 60 to 80. When I said 60 to 80, I'm talking about it's called nanomoles per liter, NMOL. It's the metric of D3.
It's how they measure it.
Yeah, it's how they measure D3. The IUs is the dosage that you take. It's called international units, right? IU dosage of actual D3 that you want to take. And we're saying how if you're trying to increase your number, you're trying to actually increase your D3 levels, you want to be taking about 5 to 10,000 a day, IUs a day. So if you're taking
Absolutely.
the detox now, D3, you would take the half vial twice a day. Okay, and then someone said, is olive oil a healthy fat? Yes, olive oil
yeah.
is a healthy fat to take your D3 with. But again, if you're taking the detox now, D3, it already has the healthy fats in it. Okay, so I know we spent a lot of time on D3, and that's important because there's so much misinformation around that. I find too many women who say, oh, my D3 is normal and it's at 30. I'm like, no, that's not enough. You know, or, you know, again, they're just thinking they don't know how to get it higher. So, and then someone asked, does D3 help with endo? Absolutely, right?
Yeah,
It's part
because
of
again,
part of our endo kit.
endometriosis is another autoimmune disease. It's again your immune system. Remember, the endometrium and the myometrium, a lot of people don't talk about that, but the myometrium and the endometrium tissue are highly inflammatory and highly irritable. And that's what starts when it swells, because you've got to remember, what is an inflammatory response? We have swelling, loss of functionality, redness,
Pain.
increase of heat, and
Pain.
pain, right? And pain. So those things I just named of inflammatory response, how many women who suffers with endometriosis can say, I experience at least 3 out of the 5 I just mentioned?
At least, yeah.
At least. So it is, again, attached to your immune system. D3 plays a vital role in strengthening and supporting your immune system. So absolutely, to answer your question.
Yeah, and it's in our endo kit, definitely.
And it's in the endo kit, yep. Oh, someone said, is K2 good to take with D3? And it is. Because as you know, vitamin D3 also helps the body to absorb calcium, but K2 helps the body to transport that to the bones, to the teeth, etc. So instead of it being left in the bloodstream and clogging up arteries, K2 helps to transport the calcium that the D3 has absorbed in the body. So yes, that's a good combination.
Excellent. Okay, so we're going to move on. So key thing here, you got the Rowan kit. I don't have endo. Do you need to order it? We're here for you. Yes. What, you know what? Email our team at support@thedetoxnow.com to help you get the right kit. Can you take an extra D3 in addition to? Yes, you can take. If you're severely deficient, you might need to take extra D3. Okay, so our focus in terms of our approach is to, again, tackle these things at the root cause. And the way we do it is through what we call our 4 pillars, is coaching and consultations, nutrition plans, which we discussed as well, herbal supplements, as well as our daily practices. And the daily practices include everything from medical qigong to cold water therapy.
Cold water therapy, saunas,
Yep.
resistance training, walks, meditation,
exercises, to stress management, meditation. So let's get into it a little bit more. All right, so we're gonna actually go into the fibroids specifically later on after this. So if you could just hang with us. For this program, what we're gonna do specifically is, I wanted to make sure you knew that week 1, today's is transition phase preparation, right? And it's all about making room. It kicks off today, but it's the whole week until next, like from this Thursday to next Thursday. We want you to focus on the things that we're gonna talk about. So you're gonna have homework, we're gonna do it together, right? And our focus is making room for healing. That means preparation for the fibroid journey, which is all about getting the right mental and the right emotional preparation with coaching exercises that you're gonna do. Don't just read them, actually do the exercises, and learning about the supplements, shopping for the foods, reading the book, the actual book, read it. If you don't have your kit, we're gonna talk about that later. Reading the book, as well as shopping for the foods that you'll need for the week that starts next Thursday, which will be, again, then that's when we'll go into week 2, which we'll talk about in a second. And then also you'll be learning about medical qigong and those daily practices. That's what we're going to be doing this week. Next week, we'll go into transition phase execution, which is actually starting to create a lifestyle of healing. That process, which it's taking the first steps on that journey, following the preparation, and then and we have a schedule for that, which includes the mindfulness, the supplementation, following that actual schedule, the nutrition plan, exercises, daily practices, etc. And then we're going to go into the next slide is week 3 and week 4, which we talk about. Week 3 is going to be a week of water fasting for the elimination phase. For those who are excited and aggressive and ready for it, if you don't want to, you can modify it. But we do recommend it because actually, you know, Dr. Amun, do you want to talk about autophagy and specifically why we integrate fasting into this process?
Oh, excellent point. So one of the things that the studies, we have to be fair because we have to tell them exactly what the studies were saying. They said that autophagy, upregulated and downregulated, they kind of saw it contradicting itself. They saw that some patients with uterine fibroids, it caused downregulation. So that means it made the uterine fibroids grow in size. Okay. Then others saw autophagy upregulated actually shrunk the uterine fibroids. So autophagy is when the body's basically getting rid of unwanted cells and tissues that is basically gone by the sell by date, right? It gets rid of them. It's like a starvation mechanism that the body does. Now, what kicks off autophagy can be exercise, but fasting is one of the best methods or best tools to use for that. So when we created the 14-day water fast, we have seen tremendous results of resolving, shrinking of uterine fibroids and eliminating. Let me just say that too, and eliminating.
Fertility too. People have a baby, getting pregnant too.
Right, yeah, people getting pregnant as well, right? But what we as experience is the upregulation part of it, right? And maybe it's because the way and our technique, how we do of the protocols, because we don't just tell you to do fasting with water. We have 3 different structures of water. We have a line of supplements that we take as well while you're doing it. So we have found great results and great success stories. Not
acceleration,
even just
not
just right. So not even just eliminating uterine fibroids, but pregnancy, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes.
Definitely. And we've had testimonies, so many testimonies around that.
Yeah, arthritis. So this part of the kit that we bring, we have 3 different techniques of fasting. We have intermittent fasting for 7 days. We have the 30-day fruit fast, where you just have fruit for 30 days. And before somebody says, well, won't that elevate your sugar levels and spike insulin, etc.? The fruit that we have chosen has fructose. So the difference between glucose and fructose is that fructose doesn't spike off insulin. Okay, it just goes straight down to the digestive system, while glucose sends a signal to your pancreas for the beta cells to release insulin. The fruit that we have chosen for the fruit fast is 90% predominant fructose. So you don't have to worry about your sugar levels or insulin spiking.
Great answer, because a lot of people, that is a question they ask.
Yeah, exactly. I get it all the time. So, you know, people who have done the fruit fast have lowered the dosage of insulin with diabetes type 2, just because of that, right? Then the most aggressive one we have, we call it the anti-inflammatory, boy, because it gets rid of chronic inflammation. It attacks that white adipose tissue. Because that's one of the things that me and Coach Gessie should have also explained. You have 2 types of adipose tissue. You have brown adipose tissue and you have white adipose tissue. The white adipose tissue is what clogs up your arteries, causing things like atherosclerosis or high blood pressure or hypertension, causes diabetes, arthritis, or rheumatoid arthritis, where the 14-day water fast eliminates that. It eats that. It eats that alive.
Yeah, it attacks inflammation. It truly attacks inflammation. Somebody asked a question. They said, what if, well, I'll come to that question. So the key reason why we're doing 1 week of water fasting as the third week is to give you that jolt, to give you that acceleration. Those of you, somebody asked, could we do melons? Yes, you can, you modify it based on what your needs are, but we can tell you we're putting this in because most people, when they are looking to accelerate their results, they'll do like the 14-day water fast, and we're doing 7 days. But somebody asked the question, and Martin, you want to ask it, but if you don't absorb vitamin D very well, which my question is, how do you know that you don't? You can't get insulin into your cells, right? That was the question.
Well, okay. I think that's too correct. Someone's asking if you can't absorb vitamin D well. So one of the things that you would look at if you're taking in the right dosage of vitamin D, however, you're not seeing your vitamin D levels improve.
Right, we talked about that.
You should start looking at possibly the kidneys or the liver, okay? Reason why? Because those two organs are responsible for metabolizing, storing, and releasing. So you have vitamin D and I'm not trying to get too technical, but you have vitamin D that's stored, okay? That's in the liver. And then you've got the active vitamin D that travels around the body, which the kidney is responsible for. Usually what happens if somebody's taking in large doses of vitamin D, but the vitamin D levels are not improving, those are the first two things to look at. Is there a kidney issue or liver issue, right? Possibly even a digestive issue as well, right? So those will be the three main points to look at, or systems to look at if that is happening. Now with insulin, what did they ask with insulin? Because I was trying to.
It's in the chat. It says, can your body still absorb make insulin? Oh, I've lost the question. I'm trying to find it here.
Okay, it says, but if I see it. It says, but if you do not absorb vitamin D very well, can you get insulin into your cells, right? Okay, so insulin and vitamin D is two separate hormones. Okay, what would be a problem of insulin going into your cells? Could be a number of things. It could be down to insulin resistance. Okay.
I think honestly, they should book one of the free consults with you, because we got to ask them questions to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So just go to the detox. If Chris,
but the two don't have anything to do with each other. Just
the link
the
to
two
book a
don't have
consult.
anything to do with each other.
Okay, so let's, so the reason we're going back to week 3 and 4, what you can expect is that the water fasting will be week 3, right? To prepare for the elimination phase. And then week 4 will be the elimination phase execution, okay? And, we have seen people who have had significant improvement in their actual symptoms, feeling very different in 30 days, definitely in 90 days, they've seen shrinkage, they've seen some elimination, but what the goal in this 30 days is to help you determine, is this right for me? Is this the right path to definitely incorporate? But maybe for you, you're trying to determine whether or not you want to incorporate surgery or you don't, or, or you're on the back end. You're like, I've had surgery, I want to keep it from coming back. There are a lot of people who are in that phase, or, so it's about finding out and equipping you to say, okay, you know what? Wow, this is in my power to do. And because I can do this, I now have greater control of my health. Okay, specifically when it comes to fibroids. Would we notice an increase or decrease in energy levels?
Are we doing a QA now? Just to,
no, we're not doing a Q&A right now. It's just, I'm going to come, but I just wanted to answer that question. Actually, you'll see an increase in energy. Most people, when they're doing this, because many of the foods, when you're eating inflammatory foods, they make you tired. They drain your energy, okay? And when you start this protocol, people speak about feeling boundless energy, feeling more alive and awake. I mean, I'm on, right? Like, they're like, oh my God, like I haven't felt like this ever.
Yeah, I mean, chronic inflammation is a serious disease, and it has a number of symptoms with them. So, fatigue, tiredness, cognitive performance, bloating, constipation or diarrhea, either one can happen, will be all the symptoms. But what you will find doing the ending fibroid kit was along with the fasting is that you'll find that you will have more energy, you will have less memory fog, you will have better night sleeping, right?
Absolutely.
And we all know that sleeping is the fundamental for the body to rejuvenate and heal itself. So it's a win-win. And again, we've been doing this for a long time. We've been doing it for a long time. So, you know, we definitely can stamp our authority and say things not just by speculation, but by actually evidence and testimonials and results.
Okay, so let's move on. Make sure we get to everything that we promised. Are we frozen? Do you guys see us? Let's see. Okay. Chris, can you please advance the slide? Hello? Tech issue. All right, so I'm gonna just keep talking because I'm not sure what's happening tech-wise. Oh yes, yep, computer tech issue, so I'll keep talking. All right.
Let me just answer one question that I saw.
Yeah, let's answer some questions.
Right? Your OBGYN, now this doesn't go for every OBGYN. I'll say 80% of those will guide you or push you and lead you towards surgery, okay? No matter how advanced you are with uterine fibroids. Now, what we have noticed over the years of tackling this is that when you're in the advanced stage of the uterine fibroid disease, this is why we, you know, Selective and Coach Gessie was very particular on how she found Dr. T, and she put him through the mills. She put him through the mills before she was like, I'm going to send my clients over to you. And the brother's like Muhammad Ali with a scalp.
Serious.
You know what I mean? That was the best way to say, right? And being a Black physician, he definitely takes much more care, pride, and enjoy with dealing with Black women. So what we wanted to, just to answer some of the questions, is that yes, you will find the first response from most OBGYNs, all your physicians, is to push you towards some form of surgery. Okay? So don't be discouraged, don't be disheartened. You just have to have, and that's I think that's a very good thing that we overlooked as well. What this 30-day challenge and the kit and fibroids and even the kit and endometriosis, what all of them do with the education manual about it, it gives you a sense of knowledge and a sense of empowerment,
Yes.
sorry, right?
The power
so
that you have, absolutely.
Right. So when you walk in there, you got to let them know, okay, you might be an expert in your field, but I'm the expert in my body. And this is what's going on in my body. And this is what I want done to get some answers and some clarification that's going on, right? And that's what the END Fibroid manual provides. It provides that knowledge, that education, and it would empower you that when you go and sit in front of your OBGYN, and again, I'm not saying all of them are like that, because we have OBGYNs that work with us as well and collaborate. So I'm not saying every, but I'm saying majority of OBGYNs will guide you to that. But this education and knowledge is power. It would give you that empowerment for you to now start questioning and demanding certain tests, diagnosis, answers, questions that they will be stumped, and they realize that they're not just dealing with the average client that comes in and we're signing them up in the next 2 months for partial or full hysterectomy. So don't get disheartened if you have an OBGYN like that, but just know that when you read this manual, after you finish reading it, you're going to have the tools and you're going to have some questions going back in to facing them, and you're going to be ready. Trust me, you're going to be loaded up.
I think the other thing that's really important to understand is that it is not an either or proposition. This is not either, you know, if I'm gonna do traditional, I can't do holistic. No, it's not at all. It is understanding that you always need the right proper integration of holistic and traditional, all right, in order, so it could be that you want to have the intervention of surgery as well as you're using your holistic methods, or the holistic, you know, the END FIBROIDS program, or you may say, you know what, I'm going to specifically tackle this naturally, but I need to make sure I'm getting the proper blood tests. I'm being monitored by my doctor to make sure that I can track how my body is responding. So finding the right balance is really important. And someone just said something to me in the chat that they felt really disrespected because they were not being, their approach was not being respected. And the key thing to note is that remember that when you go into the doctor, there are two experts in the room. You are the expert on your body, and they are the expert in their field. And if they dismiss your voice, if they do not value your expertise, they're not the right doctor for you, right? You have to actually make sure that they are on the same page with you. There are some physicians, I literally see them for specific reasons, but I don't take them, I take what they say with a grain of salt, because I understand that they don't value, like, I'll give you an example so that it's very clear. I say to my physician that my body is very sensitive. If I have, for instance, if because of all of the surgeries I've had, I have less than 3 feet of small intestines, where you are born with 20 to 25. That means they've cut out more than 20 feet of my small intestine because of complications from the fibroid surgeries, which I am trying to protect all of you from, okay? And I'll say to them, man, you know what? I've noticed that my body is easily impacted, right? They'll say, oh, that's not really possible, but I've noticed it. And because I know I'm sensitive to my body, whether it's it's easily dehydrated. So because of that, my creatinine, I'll give you an example, my creatinine was elevated, and it was because I was dehydrated when I went to go get my recent blood test. And they said, oh, they want to tell you about possibly looking at having a kidney transplant. I was like, no, I'm good. Let me just go ahead and make sure I'm hydrated next time I come for the blood test, right? And guess what? It was good. I made sure I followed my anti-inflammatory protocol. So you have to try. It doesn't mean you don't listen. It just means that you find the right doctors that you can partner with. I want to be clear on that. I'm not saying turn around and be like, oh, those doctors, I don't listen to them at all. Not at all. Make sure that, yes, our sister said, she said, I use them for monitoring and testing. Excellent. They have the equipment. Absolutely. And you want to make sure that they're on the same page with you in terms of listening to what you are saying, valuing your expertise when it comes to your body. Okay. So we're going to move on, because I want to make sure that we're respecting your time. We're not keeping you guys all night tonight. And are we back with tech? Let's see. Okay, are we back? Yes. Can we advance the slide? Okay, yes. So next, we are going to talk about specifically the preparation week that's ahead of us. All right, let's go ahead and dig into that. Next slide. Please make it so that they can see. So week 1, this week, first thing, next. Oh, we did this already, I think. Next. Yep. Step 1 is all about making room for healing, y'all. I can't say this enough. Most of our lives are jam-packed with everything but what is most important to take care of ourselves. And healing is not just going to knock you upside the head and take over your life. Healing is something we have to actually center and prioritize in order to advance it in our lives. And that's why I say make room. It's not going to happen overnight, and it has to become the central focus of what you are doing. All right. There are many things going on in our lives that are toxic, that there are toxic people, toxic habits, toxic foods, right? That are actually, that are causing us, actually, they're the reasons we're in the situation that we're in. And what we want to do is, again, tackle the root level. Somebody asked earlier, do I have to not eat red meat for the rest of my life, or just while I'm on the Fibroids program? Well, it depends on you. If your body, when it comes to red meat, we know that on the program, you definitely want to eliminate red meat specifically because you are looking to eliminate the fibroids. However, if you now, after the fibroids, have a lifestyle where, okay, you have to see how your body responds to it. Make sure it's grass-fed, make sure it's organic, and maybe you can have
make sure it's no hormones or steroid use.
Hormone-free, right? Maybe you can.
Antibiotics as well.
with moderation. But if you're someone who has a high upregulation where your body blows up no matter what when it comes to any kind of meat, you got to listen to your body. That's why we say vegan or there's not one diet for everybody. Your body will. Go ahead.
You know what, Coach Gessie, that's an excellent point, and I just want to elaborate.
You want to dig into that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I really, what we have to understand is that everyone's physiology is unique, okay?
Mhm.
Everyone metabolizes different. So when you're choosing your journey, whether you want to be plant-based, pescatarian, etc., it's not necessary like what's the food is good. We know there's basic food, but it's also you have to take in consideration what your body can handle. And I'll say this, I'll give you an example. You can have the most organic, finest vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. However, your body finds it very hard to digest and absorb and break that down. So what happens now is that this peptide that is created from the food you've eaten hasn't been broken down into amino acids. But now this peptide has been released into the bloodstream. Your immune system is going to look at that peptide, and whether it came from the Brussels sprouts or broccoli that was organic and alkaline and everything else, it doesn't care. It's an invasion. I don't know. I know what amino acid is, but I don't know this peptide, and it's going to attack it. And it's going to attack it because your body can't break it down. So you have to listen to what your body can do. And then what we also suggest is that how then you prepare your food, and steps of those preparations. So it's never one stamp or one protocol that fits all. Modification and changes,
listening to your body.
Listening to your body. You've got to listen to what your body can handle. And then that is also one of the first steps to know, what do I need to correct in my body? Because if my body can't absorb and digest proper foods that I need, then I need to get that issue resolved straight away. So
I think a key thing in making room for healing is what we call eliminate the toxic 8 in preparation this week, right? Before next week is transition phase 1, but this week as you're preparing, eliminate the toxic 8. The toxic 8 are fast food, processed junk food, all right? Refined foods, carbohydrate, sugar, dairy, caffeine, alcohol, and then smoking, right? Any kind of nicotine, drugs.
Hookahs as well.
Hookah, yeah, vaping, all of that. That's your toxic 8. So let's make sure this first week right now, eliminate all of that. And then the second thing we talked about, making room for healing, there's a coaching exercise in the book that specifically talks about how to now, in order to center healing, I have to identify what things in my life are actually not serving my healing. Remember, healing is a lifestyle that we're going to create. It's a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle now. A lifestyle got you here, but guess what? A lifestyle will get you out. All right. A lifestyle took you down a road of disease, and a lifestyle will take you down a road of healing and health. So what that requires is, it means I now have to make healing the hub, and everything else only surround it with things that support healing in my life. Okay. So the first thing, there's an exercise, it's in the book, it's called it's the shift, right? Now, what you want to do in order to center healing, is look at your roles, your responsibilities, and your relationships. Look at those 3 things: your roles, your relationships, and your responsibilities. And what you're going to do is determine which ones, I want you to assess them all, and then write them all down, all right? And then you're going to determine which ones do you need to retire. That means that's toxic and that has no place in my life anymore. Or, you know what? That used to be good for me and I'm really great at it, or that person's cool, but you know what? That's not good for me anymore, right? So what page is it in the book? The DIY guide starts, that's a good question. It's literally in the beginning of the DIY guide. And I'm sorry, I can't see the pages here on this presentation that I'm looking at, so I apologize. But someone actually, Tech, can you take a look in the ebook and tell me which page it is for them? But it's in the DIY guide. And actually, if you're in the front, if you just go to the home, the content page, thank you, 135. You click on the home page, the content, the actual section is clickable. It's the DIY guide, but it's, yeah, page 135. Thank you. So you're going to determine, based on your roles, your relationships, and your responsibilities, which ones do you need to retire, meaning they have no more place in your life. They are actually now harming you, okay? Which ones are you going to actually reposition? Reposition means it's okay, but it can't be in my close inner circle anymore, right? It's okay, but it can't be what I actually prioritize in my top 5 anymore, right? So reposition, it's not bad for me, but it's not actually fueling my healing, right? So those are people who, okay, they're cool, but you know what? They drain you. They take more energy than you can give right now, right? Anybody know about those kind of people? Right now, they take more.
I don't even have them as cool. You see, you're too nice. I eradicate them.
No,
Away.
I'm saying those are the retired people are the people you eradicate. But the reposition are people who, you know what? I love them, but right now I can't take their phone call all the time. Or I need to create some distance. I need to create some distance between that role, that relationship. Yes, from a distance. You got it. You got it. And then there are the roles and the relationships and the responsibilities that you need to rally around, because they fuel your health. They fuel your healing. They fuel everything that you want to see alive in your manifestation, right? Everything that you want to manifest, they fuel it. So you need to keep them close. You need to draw it close. And that includes this lifestyle. Anything that helps support you doing this lifestyle, you want to rally that, right? Anything that's completely toxic, you want to retire. And anything that's kind of in the middle, you want to reposition it. All right. So that's an exercise you want to definitely do this week in preparation for next week. Now, we're going to start the transition phase next Thursday. All right. So that means start eating from, you're going to shop for it this week. That's the next thing. You're going to look at all your ingredients. You're going to look at your meal plan that's in the transition phase, again, in the DIY kit, and you're going to shop for it. There's the meal plan has a shopping list, all of that stuff. If it makes it easier for you to make modifications based on the ingredients to do your own thing, fine. You don't have to follow the exact meal plan, just as long as it's food that is approved in the actual food list, okay? Step 4 is follow the medical Qigong video. So when you bought your kit, you created your, username and password in the account, and you downloaded. You should, if you don't know yet, when you ordered your kit, all the files are in your downloadable, your digitals, in your downloadables. Okay, we passed this page, I'm sorry, advanced. They're actually digital downloads in your email, all right? Sorry, I should have advanced this when I was talking you through it. So you wanna go ahead and look at your shopping list, get your ingredients, and again, make the modifications for what works for you. Customize it for you, okay? And then show me the next slide, please. Right, so there's an at a glance page, which is this page and the next page, that is this is again, preparing you for what we're gonna start next week. This schedule starts next week. This week, you are eliminating the toxic 8, okay? This is the schedule for next week. This week, you're eliminating the toxic 8, you're doing the coaching exercise, you're reading the book, y'all. Read the book. You wanna be the master of this situation. You want to be the master of your health, right? And you are going to watch that medical Qigong video, go through the exercises so you're familiar with them, okay? And that you are ready. So this week is all about preparing to start. Some of the recipes have spinach or chickpeas. Can you clarify, because spinach is estrogen rich and nah, actually they're on our food list. That's you don't have our most updated food list, Miss Christine. It's actually, you want to go into this and then I'll come to this afterwards. You want to answer her question? She said some recipes have spinach or chickpeas. Can you clarify, because spinach is estrogen rich and chickpeas are inflammatory? Nah.
Well, chickpeas are not inflammatory if you get the original chickpeas, not the ones in the cans, and you soak them for at least 4 to 6 hours before you prepare them to cook. Now the spinach, if you look at what type of spinach, because we always try to say get organic Egyptian spinach, and that has phytoestrogen, and phytoestrogen is the nearest form of estrogen outside of the body that is closest to your natural body estrogen. Okay, so I think you do need to get the up-to-date food list, which you will be pleasantly surprised that it's developed and it has more variety. But chickpeas, especially women that are going through perimenopause, and that chickpeas is amazing. It helps because, again, it's a phytoestrogen. So if you're deficient, because a lot of times we talk about estrogen dominance and we don't go into details about estrogen deficiency when your estrogen is extremely low, and what are the symptoms and what complications to look out for when that occurs. So chickpeas is like it's like one of the superfoods. When you get the organic chickpeas in the packet, not in the can, it is really a super.
Yeah, in the packet. So someone said, she said, is it different than what's in the meal kit, in the recipe guide? No, the recipe guide is accurate. It doesn't say that chickpeas are bad. But if you have a question, go ahead and email support@thedetoxnow.com to make sure you have the updated food list. The food list is just a free download that's not in the actual recipe guide, but the recipe guide has a shopping list. I'm not sure whether or not chickpeas are in the recipes of the first week, but okay. So yeah, oh, that's good information. Yeah, that was good information. All right, we're gonna go into people who are not sure what kit to get. So this is why I want to blow that up so they can see it, please, Chris. Specifically, this chart is about, make sure you see it first. Okay, there we go. We want to make sure that you're clear on where you are in the phases of fibroids, right? So phase 1, you have like 1 to 4 fibroids measuring in 1 to 2 centimeters. Asymptomatic or mild symptoms, PMS, you want to look at getting the fibroids daily kit, which is it's the supplement Fibro, Mass, and Balance. But I would also recommend D3 if you are deficient, and we've already talked now, most people are deficient, so I would definitely recommend adding D3 to that, okay? So that's if you are in phase 1. Phase 2, and D3 is for most people are vitamin D deficient or they're too low. So think about it as most people, again, if you're looking to fight fibroids and D3 is the #1 hormone that your body uses to fight fibroids, you want to make sure it's high, healthy, normal. Phase 2, excellent. Thank you for putting it in the chat. It's in the chat for those who need it. And phase 2 is, here, yeah, 4 or more fibroids measuring, 3 to 5 centimeters have been detected. You can be asymptomatic to moderate increase in symptoms. We're looking at, just what I just said, the fibroids, actually it's the fibroids kit, which includes the liver, the blood, so it includes Fibro, Balance, as well as Mass, but it also includes liver and blood. And I would definitely recommend, if you have more aggressive bleeding, you want to add iron. Okay, thank you for putting that in the kit. That's in the link is in the chat now. Phase 3 and 4 are more, again, of the acceleration of those symptoms. So more numbers. So 3 would be larger, measuring like 6 centimeters up. Fibroids starting to degenerate, or they starting to calcify. You can still be asymptomatic, believe it or not, or have possible infertility issues. You definitely want to look at the fibroids kit that was just put in there. but you want to add again D3 and iron. And that would definitely be the same thing with 4, but we would recommend also adding, more intense support because you have more of a severe situation. And we want to make sure to look at what, like Taylor, we talked about earlier. Okay, wait a minute. We need to focus more on this for you because we want to look at what the key drivers are in terms of the factors. So that can really be detailed more and customized more in the consultations and coaching sessions. So now the good news is that if you're wanting to do this right now, because we were on Angela's show, there is a way up code, which is on the next slide. Advance. Thank you. Which is 40% off with the code way up. Yes. All right. So again, you can use it on any of the fibroids programs. You can also use it on the endo program. Someone said they needed the endo program. And, be sure to use the code way up and it will give you a total of 40% off. And I think the key thing to understand is that your body knows how to heal itself. And what someone said earlier, it's like, if you go ahead and you tackle it, with surgery, that's cool. That is absolutely your option. And we always say, don't just do surgery, because you also want to make sure you're tackling the root causes. Because when we don't tackle the root causes, what we are doing is hacking away at the leaves. And when you hack away at the leaves, guess what? The roots are still present and they're going to continuously grow. They're going to manifest in another way. So the kits, the 2-ounce kits are generally a 30-day supply. And then another key thing to say is that they are HSA, FSA eligible. All right, so you can use your HSA, FSA cards at thedetoxnow.com, as well as we also have PayPal, pay later options for those who need, want to use the financing options that PayPal, pay later offers. So fresh mint leaves, are they good on this diet? Fresh mint, which kind? Like peppermint? Someone's asking. I'm going to do you see what question?
Yeah, I just thought, yeah, so all those mints, peppermint, spearmint are good to use again.
Organic.
Organic, and they fall under phytoestrogen, so they won't disrupt your hormones or the estrogen levels.
Yeah.
Someone asked, how often do I purchase the kit? That's a good question.
I just answered that. I said it's a 30-day supply.
Oh, okay.
2-ounce, right?
There we go.
There we go. All right. I just want to make sure that I know we have, let's see, where are we on time here? If we can take a few questions. Okay. So we can take a few questions. I'm going to take a look real quick. Yeah. So again, everybody's case is different, right? Because your body may respond. And that's why we wanted to make sure you were educated around all of the factors. Because again, if your factors are stress, trauma, we have to make sure that we're tackling that, as well as the food, as well as the diet, as well as, again, that's why everything, we didn't just look at it from, just stop eating meat, stop eating dairy, you'll be fine. Because that is not going to get it done, right, by itself. So depending on how your body responds will determine how quickly and how long you'll be on this specific protocol. But your body will specifically show you, in terms of how responsive it is. You'll see everything from, you're, no longer feeling bloating, to your cycles changing. We've seen cycles change in like 2 weeks time, completely. And people having especially after they did the water fast. Oh my God. People who had extremely like bedridden symptoms, and the key thing is, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to answer, I think what they wanted to know is this. So people who have the kit, like they have the existing kit, they have the recipe guide, they have the manual book and everything. All you possibly be needing to do is re-up on the supplements.
Right.
The supplements, right? The food list is also free. So any additional or alterations that we make to the food list, you can freely download that. But if you already have the kit, then you just need to re-up on the supplementation. The second question is, how many times? Well, every individual is different, okay? We've had cases where some people, again, whether that phase 1, some people might be at phase 4, phase 2, or phase 3. Some people might have to go and see Dr. P because they're in such an advanced stage of uterine fibroids, okay? So to give you a specific time or how many kits, that's really going to be down to you, how serious you are, and how your body responds to the changes, how disciplined you are, how well you execute the program and stay on the program. What I would say is a ballpark, you'll see after 90 days, like Coach Gessie was just explaining, you will start feeling more energetic. You will start seeing your cycle.
No, not after 90 days. After you said 90 days. After 90 days, you'll have a lot more changes. We're talking about when will you start feeling a difference? You'll start feeling a difference in weeks. But what kind of changes?
No, I mean, I'm not disagreeing, but I'm like, I'm just being safe. You know, it's like when you, what's that thing when you?
No. So there's a difference between starting to see difference and actually whether or not you see shrinkage to elimination. That's two different levels.
Two different things, right? And I was going to go into that, right? So I was going to say, at 90 days, right, at that period there, you could see shrinkage. You could even have elimination. It depends. Some people have, some people haven't. But to say how many times, because I think the question was how many times would I have to purchase the kit? It's not purchasing the kit. Once you buy the kit, you would just only have to re-up on supplementation. You won't have to re-up on like the whole entire kit itself.
Yeah, and we have a when you actually do what do you call it, recurring orders, they're 30% off, like automatically. So you already save 30% off if you're doing the supplements on recurring. Someone named DW asked about, they said they have the supplements. Hold on a second. He said, how do I access the downloads? It's just email support@thedetoxnow.com and let them know that you ordered the kit before, but you don't have the downloads, and let them know that we said to send you to give you the access. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
When you guys were talking about the frequency of it, and thank you for answering that, I just wanted to, and you said it's a lifestyle change. So for example, because I just got the kit like last week. So, but I wasn't sure how to do all the stuff. So in getting it, if it's a lifestyle change, and if I'm in like phase 3 or 4, not knowing how many times, but it's something where it should be a monthly thing. I should be anticipating, not like, you know, oh, after 30 days, maybe, whoop, all's good and my food's changed. But if you're in those phases, I should anticipate at least multiple months, right?
So
and then,
are you in an advanced state? Is that what you said?
Yes, I think it's like the phase 3, the way you guys had it.
Yeah. So if you're in phase 3, so first of all, think about how long it took for your body to develop them, right?
It felt really quick. Honestly, for me, they never told me they saw them. I didn't know anything about this until my third kiddo, who's 3 now. It was the first time they'd mentioned it. I didn't even know what the heck it was, fibroid. And so
how long was it? And just before you notice them, and them growing are two different things, but how long was it?
Well, the doctor had never mentioned it at all before until while I was pregnant. They were like, oh, it looks like you have a couple of fibroids. Everything's okay with the baby. And then after I had my son, so it must have been like maybe a year when you go for like or maybe not even a whole year, but the follow-up just to kind of see how things are going with my body. And it was like the size of a kid or something. I mean, I think that thing is bigger than my uterus.
With pregnancy, it's like being on steroids during pregnancy. Can be. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you had a scenario that actually put them in acceleration mode, right? Because they're being fed hormones that actually help them grow on an accelerated basis. All right. So before that, what happened is they might have been there, but small, right? Because they were small, they were kind of undetected. So the key thing is, if you are on an accelerated, and that's why we said, if you want to be on an accelerated protocol, meaning, okay, you're doing the supplements, you're doing the foods, you may do water fasting with us. Somebody said, should you do water fasting once a month? You can do a water fast for 7 days once a month. Absolutely. Like 5 days, or you can do 3 days on, 4 days off. Like, you can develop a protocol where you do water fasting a couple of days a week, but you do the 14 days to really kind of kickstart, accelerate yourself, or doing it for 7 days with us here, but putting it as part of something you do as a lifestyle. So it's creating a lifestyle that's anti-inflammatory that works for you, right? So for you, maybe it's fruit fasting, right? Maybe like we're going to find the right kind of thing that works for you, but understanding that because your body takes time to grow them, it takes time to eliminate them, right? So yes, it would be probably something you need to do monthly until you're, and your body will tell you when it's working, because you'll see everything from like, what kind of symptoms do you deal with?
Well, definitely the fatigue, the back pain for me is the continual looking like I'm pregnant. Even, I feel like, oh my goodness, it looks like a kid's there, but he's not.
Yeah.
So there's that.
So your body, you will be able to see these kind of differences with your body, right? In terms of how you're
Weight loss,
feeling.
maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And remember that when you tackle it at the root cause level, you're not just tackling fibroids, which I love this, that you're tackling these issues, chronic inflammation, you're tackling estrogen dominance, you're tackling vitamin D deficiency, these things that are connected to so many other health issues. So
I do have that, the vitamin deficiency and the high blood pressure. I do have that.
So by doing these things, you're going to be tackling overall health. You're going to be experiencing overall health change as well, because of the fact that you're dealing with these root issues. When people have surgery, they're dealing with just the fibroids, but they're not dealing with, oh, what was it that created your fibroids in the first place? You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
what we want you to do, again, with whether you choose to do it with or without surgery, is we want to help you tackle the root cause, so that they're not that you're tackling them so that they don't come back, or that you're tackling them at the root and not manifesting in another way as well. Because it can be manifesting in thyroid issues, it can manifest in cancer, it can manifest in so many other chronic issues, because those root issues were never addressed, they're left unchecked, right? So to me, fibroids are like, when I say a benign, remember, I'm saying benign in that they're not malignant. There are a warning sign that these root issues are present, because they are a condition that is caused by these root issues. But when we never tackle the root issues in the first place, we're letting them literally run rampant in our bodies. Does that help?
Yes, that does. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else have questions? Oh, I see messages at the bottom. Yes, there is actually a refill kit that you can order. You can literally just order those supplements specifically. Make sure. Oh, when do you start taking supplements? So that's a good question. You can start taking them. What would you recommend? They can start taking them next week, or they can start taking them now. What do you think?
No time like the present. If they've got them, then take them.
That's what I'm saying. You got them. You got your kit. Let's get it. The directions on how to take them are specifically in the book, but I will show you, since I'm about to take my mask right now.
Christine, yeah, try
Hey, I'm showing them how to take it. Hold on a second.
Oh, okay.
Respect. All right, I shook it, taking half up at the 75.75. I took too much of my thing. I squeezed it really hard. Put it under the tongue. Hold it for 30 seconds. And swallow. Now, mass is spicy. Some people can't hold it for 30 seconds, and I'm talking, that's why I swallowed it. But you can put them all under the tongue, hold them for 30 seconds, and swallow. All right, the next question is about primrose. Is it safe? Primrose oil, is it safe? In terms of estrogen levels?
No, that's an excellent oil. That's safe to take. And I was going to say also, Christine, yeah, maybe set up a 10-minute or 45-minute private consultation so we can go over why your blood cells are declined and the weight so low. We could have a look into that, because I would actually like to see your medical reports and see what else is going on.
Yeah, I remember I spoke to you some time ago, and I I sent you the whole list, and we had the whole thing my whole report. But then with my hematologist, we were mainly focusing on my hemoglobin, right? Because
Right.
it would deplete really, really low after my menstrual because I lose a lot of blood, so I had to get like blood transfusions and
I
iron.
remember. Yep,
Right.
I
So
remember.
now in chasing that, there was a decline in the white blood cell. Now I know
Yeah.
in African Americans and in certain Caucasians of European descent that the white blood cell does go low, right? But
Well, yes, but there's a reason for that, right? Because what you will find in the Caribbean and in Africa, we are not, our immune system doesn't have to develop, first of all, so high levels of white blood cells. You know why?
Vitamin D.
Because of, there you go, because of
And the
vitamin
sun,
D.
natural sunlight.
We're in the sun.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. So as you find, Europeans are in more of a colder climate with less sunlight, less exposure to the sun. They have to build up a much higher immune system. Okay, so therefore the white blood cells are going to be elevated and high compared to African Americans or African descent or Caribbean descent. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense. Okay, so yeah,
But
so
yours are really low. But but it's
yeah,
saying that yours are low, so we need to
Schedule that
address
consult.
okay.
So
Yeah,
you can start off, somebody said, can you schedule, you can do the one-on-one if your budget allows, or you can do the 10-minute to start and determine whether or not you need to do a private one. Someone asked
Okay.
that question.
So the 10 minutes are back because I know Dr. Moon, you stopped the 10 minutes. Okay, so
They're
they're back now.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're back. We're back by
We're
popular
back,
demand.
people, we're back. Okay. Someone asked, do you follow the schedule in the book or this? Well, while you're on the program with us now, follow this schedule. And do you need to use fasting, or is it a preference? Well, because of what we talked about in terms of the evidence that we've seen in the effectiveness of the fasting as part of the protocol, we highly recommend you incorporate it if you are wanting to do an accelerated track. If you're just doing this because you're doing, you're not symptomatic, but you're trying to be proactive and you're just wanting to take it easy or take it at a more moderate pace, then do what's right for you. Then you don't have to do, you can just follow the elimination meal plan instead of specifically doing fasting. But if you're looking for
So-
more accelerated results.
Okay, so Amber, one of the things I like to say, you've heard of like anaerobics. So anaerobics helps with your lymphatic system, your circulatory system, as well as your meridian system. And that's what Qigong is. So a Qigong is a combination with your workout at the gym, whether you're doing resistant training, weight training, cardio training. And if you're doing cardio, try to keep it down to maybe 10, 15 minutes at a time, because more cardio you do, the more cortisol you produce, and that can also elevate inflammation in the body, high levels of cortisol, and disrupt your sleep patterns, okay? Because you could be overworking or exhausting your adrenal glands. So you want to be, so if you're doing calisthenics, resistant, weight, hot yoga, Pilates, medical Qigong, those are anaerobics, and they are very helpful. Exercise is your medicine, basically. Exercise is medicine for the body. So that helps with blood flow. When you've got a heartbeat, and this is what we do when you're training, we want to take your pulse, how much your heartbeat is beating in a minute. So average, like a super athlete that you see in the Olympics, it'll be something like 30 to 35 beats in a minute. That means the heart is only going like that. Boom. But at one beat, floods the body with all the blood that it needs throughout the organ. Now, when you might have a heart that's constantly doing that, and that's what cardio can do to your heart. Constantly doing that, it's overworking the muscle. As you know, the heart is a muscle, it's overworking it. So resistance training, medical Qigong, hot yoga, weightlifting, calisthenics will give you that strong, slow, intense heartbeat. Okay.
All right, something else I forgot to say is that make sure to join the free reset group in the Detox Living app, because we have virtual coaching support all the time that's answering your questions. And someone asked, is this the coaching program? Well, this is what you get in the coaching program when you actually add coaching to the program, like add coaching to your kit, but we're just giving it to you free for 30 days. Hey, so make sure you show up and you give yourself the best effort by doing it. The other question was, do you actually choose between water fasting and fruit fasting? Water fasting is our most aggressive anti-inflammatory protocol. So if your lifestyle allows for you to do it, absolutely you want to take advantage of it. But if you need to do fruit fasting because of the realities of what your body or your lifestyle requires, then that's fine. It's a choice. Okay.
Do you want to ask? Do you want to answer that, DM, or do you want me to take that?
Yeah, I'll answer it. I completely changed my last up. I've been doing this for fasting. Asymptomatic fibroids are still here. Would you do 30-day challenge? So you know what, DW, I would like to find out what really is at the root of your fibroids. This is for me. I think we're just not looking at what's really driving yours specifically. And I would say, number one, let's go ahead and book a consultation with Dr. Armon. And let's look at whether it could be stress trauma. When you see that something continues, no matter what you're doing, typically speaking, it's because we haven't identified the thing that is actually the key driver in your case. Okay. And that's the issue. I don't we need to find out and tailor it to specifically for you. Right. And when you do that, that is where you usually will find the greatest results, because it's not cookie cutter. Some people, they can just take it the way it's outlined and it really helps them. But then some people, it's like, you know what, for me, we need to really identify what are the key culprits and help with that.
Sure, you can, DW. Just sign up for the 10-minute free consultation. I got a couple of questions I like to ask you in the consultation on that. So yeah, sign up for the free 10-minute consultation. And some people just do it back to back every other Friday, because when they're on the kit or the challenge, right, or the program, I should say, they're coming in with specific questions, and they're like, okay, I'm doing this, boom, 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 or I'm struggling here, or I find the obstacle here. So the 10 minutes is utilized, specifically to what you are experiencing during the challenge and doing the program. Some people, where I say 10 minutes is not days, when they're fresh, they don't have anything, and they come and they say, right, this is my blood work and it's all over the place. Well, it's not going to take 10 minutes to go through that and explain that. But in your case, DW, 10 minutes, we'll get a lot achieved.
Okay, everybody. So let's see. I think we're going to wrap up for the night. So remember your homework. Okay. That's question. Okay, you're welcome. So remember your homework. Okay. If you don't have your kit, get your kit. That's number one. Okay. Please make sure you have your tools. We ship out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if you don't have your kit, use the way up code. Definitely get that 40% off, because it's not typical. It is definitely not typical. And then make sure to read the book, the manual, review and do the shopping for the food this week to start for next week. Eliminate the toxic 8. This is all in the DIY guide that starts on page 135. And then definitely do the coaching exercise that we talked about. Review the Qigong exercises as well to prepare. And I think that was it. No, I don't think the code is going to be around till September. We'll see. We'll see. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We will see you next week, same time. Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your journey of healing. We are excited about this path, joining and being on this path with you and helping you to manifest your healing.
And let me I'll just say one more thing. You don't have to worry. Whatever stage you're at, whether hopefully if you don't even have uterine fibroids, still jump on the program. Prevention is better than cure. If you are battling, we got you. If you are in advanced stages, we still got you. Like we said, we got the best surgeon in the country. And then after you've had the surgery, we still
Absolutely.
got you again, because we will have the prevention kit to help them from returning after having a surgery procedure. So in any
And
three
helping the body
stages,
prevent surgical complications.
case,
So
yeah, so in any three stages that you are battling or you feel that you need to execute, just know that the Detox Now, myself
got
and
you.
Coach Gessie, we got you. And in that said, have a good night.
Good night. Good night, everybody. Love y'all.
Hello, Coach Gessie.
Yes.
I have a quick question. So I haven't gotten
Okay.
my kit yet because I don't know which one to get. But Dr. Amun just said it. Like I just had a surgery. So at this point, I have none because it's just recent. So at this point, which kit am I going for?
Wait, you said you had the surgery already?
Yes, not long
Okay.
ago.
You want to get the fibroids daily kit, which has the
Okay.
fibro, the mass, and the and
D3.
balance, but
Right.
make sure you have D3 too. So 4
Okay.
supplements. The
Okay.
one, add the D3 to the fibroids daily kit. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
Anybody else not know which kit they need?
Thank you.
You're welcome, sis. We got you.
Hi, Coach Gessie. I wanted to have the coaching program. Can I do that in there or just at another time?
You can do it. You can totally, you want to ask questions about it? Is that what you're about to say?
No, I wanted to add it or did.
Sure. So what you can do is go to the detoxnow.com/coaching. Okay. And you add sessions to your program and they'll be private one-on-one sessions.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And I think the key thing with that is when people don't know, like they need to dig into what's really going on, that's where we really do it. Like that's we get the work done. Thank you. It's in the chat now.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And hold on, I'm just trying to see. Is it Stacy?
Right. I'm the one who had asked about my insurance, if that could cover it. Do you
Sure.
think
So you have to look at, do you have HSA, FSA?
I don't know. I know it's Blue Cross Blue Shield. I don't know.
No, but HSA is, it's a pre-tax funds that they put aside that are used specifically for, they call alternative medicines and alternative medical expenses. And yeah, all of that's covered through that. So you just want to ask your people.
Call them.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see if it.
Okay. And
Awesome.
any questions, definitely email our team support@thedetoxnow.com and we'll get you some answers if you need some guidance.
Right.
Yeah, with the, I just want to chime in with those HSA and FSA, usually your employer would like take it out of your paycheck pre-tax,
Right.
and apply it to that account. Yep.
Yeah, it's very helpful. Very helpful.
I pay for my insurance myself. So I don't know if it covers
So
that.
you're self-employed?
Somewhat. I'm consultant, so I pay for my own insurance. So I don't know if it covers that though.
So you know what? What you want to do is take a look at what what offerings they have for alternative medicines.
Okay.
And then email our team so they'll help you to try to find out what's available there.
Okay.
And then guess what? Worst case scenario is it becomes a business expense because it's actually it's deductible as a medical expense. It's deductible as coverage as a business. Definitely.
Awesome. Thank you for answering.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Coach Gessie.
Yes.
Okay, so all these, like I'm always on all these wonderful sessions. How do we access the recordings again? Like once it's all done?
Yeah, that's good. So this will be available. It will be available as soon as our tech team gets it done. I apologize.
Way
But
back, I think they
so
all
are you
emailed
one,
it to
we're not always sure everybody wants the replay, but okay, so you definitely want the replay. Okay.
Yes, okay. Because I know way back it was like, yeah, we'll email it to you. And then, yeah, then I guess, okay, so I'm requesting.
Okay, you're
Yeah,
requesting it. That's good.
thank you
Okay.
so much.
Welcome.
Coach Gessie, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is
Who's
it safe? Oh, I'm sorry, this is Trinity. I don't know if you can see my name.
Yeah, it wasn't showing me. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. So I have an advanced situation. Is it
Uh-huh.
safe to do the diet consistently, like for several months, to follow that protocol?
Oh, it's definitely safe, but advanced as in you need surgery, or advanced as in
Um,
your symptoms are very severe?
Advanced as it's taking up most of my uterus, about 11.7 centimeters, and I just saw a surgeon for the first time a few weeks ago for a consultation, and it's
What
limited
did they-
options.
Okay, so I
They were, yeah,
recommend that you definitely book a consultation, do a telehealth with our physician partner, Dr. P.
okay,
I'm telling you, every single case, there was a woman who had 304 fibroids, and she had
wow,
a uterus saved, small horizontal incision. She's one of our clients. She's working to prevent the return of fibroids now with us. So when I tell you everything that you thought was impossible, because doctors are telling you, typically speaking, they say that because they don't have the skill level.
got it.
Okay,
That
so
makes
if you
sense.
go to our
Okay,
consult page, you go to a consult page at thedetoxnow.com, you'll see a link to book a telehealth with him and just let him know that you're our client. And the key thing is, I would recommend you definitely start the protocol and preparation for it and continue it after. Definitely, it'll make
okay,
a huge difference.
will do.
But
Thank you.
trust me, yes, 304 fibroids in a woman who was small like me. She looked severely pregnant, okay, and saved her uterus, small horizontal incision. All the doctors said she needed a hysterectomy and a huge, massive vertical incision.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing, and every time I've gone to multiple
Christine, then
GYN.
you need to book that consult with Dr. P. Let's not waste another minute.
Okay. No, what I was gonna say is that the doctors, like like what the young lady said, is limited options. They always want to cut you up
Yep.
like sushi.
And that's
Right.
only because they don't know how to do it. That's really it.
Gotcha.
Or they don't want to spend the time to get every single fibroid, or they don't have the skill, and they typically don't have the skill level to remove all of the fibroids as well as do it in a small horizontal incision.
Right. Yeah. Like my doctor, she was like, well, I have a machine that when you lose blood, I can pump it back into you while
Mhm.
you're, whoa. Like, yeah, no. Yeah. Yeah. A lot. So, I didn't get to ask the question, but the other, alternative that they offer are the Lupron shots, which,
Yeah.
shrink it for a couple of months. They can only
Yeah,
give it to you twice.
temporary.
And
Yeah.
then in combination with doing embolization. So like they'll give you the
Yeah.
Lupron shot and then want to do embolization. So I meant to bring that up with Dr.
Yeah,
Ahmed.
embolization is not a fan of embolization. It has worked for some people, but when I did the embolization, the fibroids came back aggressively. Again, not addressing the root cause, but if you need intervention, there's also the Assessa. But if the fibroids are large, and they are massive, where it's advanced fibroid disease, no question. If I had to get on the table tomorrow, I would be going to Dr. P.
Dr.
No
P.
question. No,
Okay.
worth every single time, breath, second, wait, every bit of it. I don't know another surgeon who does what he does.
Wow. Even that now I know there's the different types you went over, right? So when the one is I think subserosal or submucosal, whatever, the one that's like embedded in the wall
Yeah,
of your uterus, he can eat, yeah.
All of them. But
Okay.
again, it depends on if the fibroids are in a place where if they are so much so that your experience, it's an advanced situation, or you're just like, you know what, for me, this is what I need to do. I highly recommend, no question, and again, but don't do it without the lifestyle change. Don't do it without the protocol, because you need to make sure you're tackling the root and the symptom at the same time.
Well, yeah, I've been following y'all since Dr. Amun, Dr. Ansun, you know, when it was, the, you know, so yeah, I was there. So yeah, so I've got, yeah, so much better now. Anyone who can hear my voice, the kits, the herbs, everything's much better now. I'm feeling the differences. You know, I have to get a little more strict, right? So ladies, you got to be honest with yourselves. You know, I slip, I eat the wrong things. You know, you're on the move, you're working, you're busy, kids' life, you know, whatever's going on with you. So you slip, so that'll, you know, you'll feel that. And, you know, so that's not the kits, not, you know, the herbs or anything's not working. It's just what you eat. Yeah, so.
Your body, especially when you start getting clean and your body's used to it, then it'll start being more sensitive. Like, get that out of here. We're all about healing.
Yes, you will feel it. Yes, your intestines, everybody will, your body will tell you.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, everybody.
Thank you so much for taking the extra time with us.
Somebody else.
Coach.
Yes. Hello? I heard you. I'm still here.
Okay, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay, hi. Good evening, Coach Gessie. This is Shanice.
Hi, Shanice. You're muted again.
I'm so sorry about that. I'm doing this from my phone because I was running errands this evening. So I've been listening this whole evening on mute. So sorry about that.
Okay.
But okay, I'm just trying to get clarity here because I know you're doing this 4-week I guess coaching session here. Are we going to be following whatever you implement in the coaching session, or are we going to be following the schedule with the kits that we ordered?
So you, if you want to do it with the guidance of the coaching as we're doing it, you can do it. You can accelerate. Like if you're like, you know what, I'm not doing these baby steps. I'm accelerating. I'm going ahead. You can do that and still get the benefits of the coaching. You see what I'm saying? But if you want to do it at this pace with us, because it's a lot at the same time, you know, that's why we're rolling it out the way we are. You absolutely can.
Okay, I just needed clarity. All right.
Yeah,
well, no, I appreciate the guidance. So yeah, I'll take whatever guidance I can get as I go.
We want to empower you so that you know that you can do this. You see what I'm saying? And that you have the support along the way. And then again, we always have the free reset group in the Detox Living app for the virtual support. And then as well, you can always book a coaching session separately with me if you needed to, or a consultation with Amun if you needed to. You always have support. But some people feel like, you know what, it's like when you're starting something that's so intense, having that kind of consistent baseline, right, support system to structure really helps you to kind of jump in all the way.
Okay. All right.
Why'd you say it like that? Tell me, what does that mean?
Oh my gosh. We're just taking a day at a time. I know it's just dealing with a lot, just with work, exiting a really bad relationship. So
that's why
I feel like, okay,
exercises are important for you. Everything I said for the preparation. Yeah. You need preparation week. You need this week.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. And another side question. I don't know if you'd be able to answer it here in the private consultation, like you were suggesting. I do have a 10 centimeter fibroid that's pedunculated. So, and the way they're explaining to me and the way I've seen it in pictures and the diagrams is that that's outside of the uterus. So while I'm going through the kits and everything and taking the supplements, how is that eliminated from my body if it's not inside the uterus?
Oh, but your body still breaks it down the same way. Your body still breaks it down the same way. Oh. Yeah, it still breaks it down the same way. However, if it's 10 centimeter and it's, is it anywhere pressing on in your kidneys, your blood, like, is it something?
I feel like it presses on my bowels because
slowed bowels.
Yeah, on my bowels, and like it's like in the upper part of my stomach or on the top of my uterus. That's where I feel it, and I feel it even more intensely during my period. Oh, I'm so glad I brought that up because you mentioned that with one of your weeks you're doing a water fast.
Yes.
And I was wondering, are you able to still do the water fast while on your period?
So typically speaking, we don't recommend starting it that way, but so many people have done it on their cycles. And the truth is it has been effective for them. So really is, you know, it's on a case by case determine how you want to do it basis, but So many women have done it. They're like, look, I can't schedule this based on when my cycle starts. I gotta get in on it. You know what I mean? So for them,
Yeah.
they're like, but we do, the reason our kit has the balance supplement is to provide that hormonal balance support while you're on it as well. So that, you know, in terms of helping with navigating it even in the fasting. Now, the 10 centimeter, the question with the 10 centimeter was, is it in a place where, you know,
expelled
do you feel
from the
like
body?
Say that again?
Can it be expelled from the body?
Oh, no, that I said yes to that. That's not what I was
Oh,
asking.
okay.
I was saying, you feel like it's you're in a scenario where you feel like you need to be looking at surgery, or you want to just focus on tackling this naturally to see how your body
I
responds.
want to focus on it naturally.
Let's do it.
I did try this. What year are we in? 24? Around 22, 23, but I was still in that bad relationship. So I know the results that I can achieve with this because.
Oh, what happened to you? I lost you. You're not muted. I don't see why I'm not hearing you. But what I can tell you is if you're in a toxic relationship, that would undermine so much of
the food and everything that you were doing at the time and try to replicate it again so you can get the same type of results. That's become completely foggy for me. So
yeah.
I'm glad you're having
good that you have the support. And I was gonna say to you, so yeah, what I was gonna say to you is a toxic relationship literally can undermine all of it. You know what I mean? Because it's the stress trauma that it puts your body under that really it's counterproductive against the healing journey. You know what I mean? So in those scenarios, really what it does is probably help it keep it from growing more versus helping you actually advance in your healing, because the toxic relationship is so negatively impacting your health journey. Someone just asked the same question. Christine, you just asked a question about water fasting. So again, because we added the balance, you're taking the balance as part of it. We've seen so many of our sisters do the water fast with the supplements, and they're very successful. You just want to listen to your body. And because of that, take it on a, make sure you're just listening to your body. If you're feeling like, oh, you know what, I need some water-based fruit, you'll listen to your body. That's the key thing is like, no, don't try to do so much and then blame it on the water fast. Like, no, you're trying to do too much. You know what I mean?
Yes. And then also, I don't know if any of the other ladies here experience because of the fibroids, I have the excessive blood loss. I get like the clots, I lose a lot of blood. So, like my hemoglobin can be at 10. Then by the time my cycle ends, it could be down to 6, right? I've had to have blood transfusions. I've gotten all the way down to 3.78. So can I do?
Not on a 6, you don't want water fast.
I know. Dr. Almoon says always like 7.5 or up. You got to be up. So I just asked that question just so ladies. Yeah.
That's a good question. So people to hear that. It's very important.
Yes.
All right, y'all hanging around. I thought we supposed to be hanging up. I love y'all.
I know. This is so great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did we answer questions? It looks like it. I love y'all. Good night.
We love you too, Coach Gessie.
Good night. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good
night.
Thank you. Good
night. Give our love to Dr. Almoon.
He's gone. I didn't realize he was gone.
He done left us.
He done left.
Okay. He's cool. He's cool. All right. Good night. Good night, ladies.
Good night. Bye.